As of now, we have learned the DOM basics, right? Okay, generally we just discussed about what's meant by HTML and how the basic HTML can be written. What is meant by tag, what is meant by element, and what is meant by chains. All this, right? Now, what we need is, we just understand that full-fledged, or just not a basic. So to understand it full-fledged, or to understand the complete DOM, what we do is we will take an application and then we will start automating that application by using a pure VBScript without using the tool. Then it should be a web-based application. The reason because it's an HTML DOM. So normally when it is web-based, then only the HTML will be used for it. Okay. So then we will understand how we can access the objects in real applications using DOM without using the tool, and how we can automate them, how we can perform the actions and perform the validations, all those. So we almost try to automate an application, but not complete application, but the basic things without using any automation tool. But going forward, when we use automation tools, this knowledge will help you to understand how tools are retrieving the objects or accessing the objects on them. Okay, fine. So the application what we'll take is, let's take Internet Explorer because it supports, VBScript supports only Internet Explorer, right? Okay. So open that application. It's Orange HRM application. Then you log into the application by entering username and password. And then once you log in, then you need to click on PIM, whatever it is, just depends on the scenario. And then probably you may need to click on add employee, and then you need to enter the details. Okay, and if you want, you can select this checkbox and then enter the details. If you don't want, you don't need this, and then you must have to select the location and click on save, and then you need to verify employee has been created or not, and then you can do some other transactions. Okay, got what I am saying here? Okay. Right. Let's understand how normally we can write this script. First, what you have to do, you must have to launch the Internet Explorer that we have seen already. So first launch the Internet Explorer. How? By using create object, Internet Explorer dot application. Right? Then you can say ia.visible equals to true. Then after I told that, okay, so what we need to do, as soon as you launch the application, you must have to navigate. Okay, so how do you navigate? Say that Internet Explorer dot navigate. Then you can say http dot enterprise dot demo dot orange hrm live.com. So you need to navigate. Okay, then if you run this, it will launch the application, but it is taking a little time to navigate to a specific page, right? As soon as you launch the application and navigate to certain URL, then it is taking little time. So we cannot access the objects till the page gets loaded completely. So that's the reason what we did earlier. So we have introduced something called synchronization point in between. Then what is meant by synchronization point? Okay, generally a script will be executing a little faster, application might be a little slower compared with script execution time. Then in such cases, if you want to sync the application script execution time with application response time, then we use this synchronization. Then how do we do that here? You can say ie.ready state equal to 4. You need to execute till do until ie.ready state. What is meant by ready state here? It displays the current state of the browser. If the page is loading, then it will return as 2 or busy. Then if it is loaded completely, then it returns as 4. That means loading is completed. Okay, so that's what it is. Then you need to access the objects here. Okay, so first I need to enter the username. Then how do we access the object? Okay, you can do one thing here. Since we are not using any automation tool, and when you are using EFT or other tools, you will be having something called object spy under. So there is a separate tool that we will be having. Not tool, it's one of the feature of the tool. When you use that object spy, and as soon as you click on this object after using that object spy, all the properties will be automatically listed in the spy. Okay, so that is when you are using tool, you will get that. But since we are not using tool here, we are using pure VBScript and all, then we don't have any spy option. So in such cases, so do one thing. If you are using only Internet Explorer, if you don't have Chrome and all, okay, so keep the cursor on this object, press on F12. Okay, so F12 stands for developer tools, we call it as. Normally all this HTML source code and all can be traced in developer tools. After that, in the developer tools, just click on the mouse icon, come to the application and select the object. As soon as you select the object and go to the developer tools again, you can see the source code has been highlighted. Okay, I will repeat again. So do one thing, you just go to F12, that means developer tools. Instead of F12, we can also go like this, tools and developer tools here. Go to the developers tools and click on mouse icon here, and then come to the application and select the object. Then go to the developer tools again. That source code will be enabled, whatever that code is. Or in case if you are using Chrome browser, if you have Chrome browser here, navigate to the application and right click, inspect element. It will automatically display. So you don't need to open developer tools or anything. Developer tools only for Internet Explorer. But if you are using latest version of Internet Explorer, you will get the inspect element directly, as like Chrome. So since we are not using latest version of Internet Explorer, then just for now we can use Chrome only to understand the properties of that. So right click and inspect element, it will display the source code. Now you can see that this input has got name as txt username, ID also has got as txt username. Since I have got the ID here, I can take the ID to access the object. Then how can I access the object by using ID here? Say ie dot document dot get element by ID. Then give the name here. Then you can take it to a variable. Set ouser equals to. Then ouser dot value equals to. You know what is meant by value? Value is used to set the value into the edit field or retrieve the value from the field. Then admin. Let's see whether this works or not. Yeah, it is setting the value. If you see, it's setting the value. Similarly, you need to enter the password as well. You just say inspect element and it will display. This also has got ID. So almost many of the objects have got ID here, so I am using ID. But slowly we will see without using ID, if we have only name, then how we can access. Say password equals to ie dot document dot get element by ID. or password dot value equals to admin. Then I need to click on login button. Right click, inspect element, and we have ID again here. Right? We have ID. Then you can say set o login button equals to ie dot document dot get element by ID of login. So this time what I have to do, so login button dot click. Let's execute this and then see whether it works or not. Yeah, it entered a username and it entered, and in the clicked on login button also. It entered the username, password, and clicked on login button as well. So it means that it's working fine. The next what you have to do is, after that, we need to verify whether it's logged in successfully or not. That's, almost for every action that whatever we do in the automation, you must have to validate whether that transaction is successful, or we have seen the desired output or not. Then how do we do that? Okay, so whenever you are doing validating the navigation and all, you see, okay, there are some objects here which displays only after login, right? So now if you see that welcome admin, if you see that welcome admin link, not only welcome admin link, any welcome link, depends on the user it will be. That link will be displayed only when login is successful. In case if the login is not successful, that welcome link will not be displayed. Right? And similarly, you can take any of the object, like you can say training, or you can say performance, or onboarding, but those links we may not be able to take here. The reason, because those links will be changing, depends on the user who logs in. For some users, we will not be having of leave, PAM, or time and all. Only for few users that you will get it. So user to user, it will be keep changing. The menu will be changing. So, but welcome link will be safe, right? Welcome link will be safe. Then what we do now is go to the developer tools, because Chrome again I need to log in there. So I'm just selecting this. Okay, so its HTML tag is a class and ID they have given again. Let's see. Okay, for now we are using ID because ID is available for every application, every object. Then set o welcome link equals to ie dot document dot get element by ID welcome. Okay, now I'll just do this for now. Don't write down. In between we need to write something here, but this is just I'm accessing that welcome link and I'm clicking on the welcome link, but our requirement is not to click on it. Yeah, so it entered the username, entered, and again it says that object required o welcome link. The reason, because it's not able to access the object here, because it was taking some time to load, right? As soon as you click on login button, it was taking some time to navigate to the next page. So what you can do is, you can again keep that synchronization here. Sorry. You can again keep the synchronization, but still I just login button. Okay, fine. So I just skip the synchronization here. Like it will take little time to load. Now see, after clicking on that, normally what happens is it is not starting the transaction immediately. So after clicking on that, that page loading is taking 5 seconds or 2 seconds time, and then it started loading. So now immediately as soon as you say after clicking on login, if you say ready state, by default ready state is in complete status only. The reason because as soon as you click on login button, it started loading immediately. It is waiting for 2 seconds and then it started loading. So that time ready state will be busy. But as soon as you click on, if you say that page not started loading, right, ready state will remain in complete status only. What I meant to say is here. After clicking on see, now immediately it is starting. It is taking some seconds and then started loading. But if you are taking ready state immediately, then that's showing it as 4 only immediately. So what you need is now instead of why I have used ready state only to manually maximize and all. Earlier it was as soon as it launches, it's not opening completely, but it was hiding. So that's the reason I just gave a wait period. That's not mandatory. Now what I will do is after clicking on login, wait for 5 seconds and then start synchronization. Okay. Now you can see it's clicked there. Yeah, the reason because it was taking little time earlier to start loading. Okay, so if the transaction started immediately, then ready state works. But to start the transaction, it was taking some fraction of seconds or some seconds. So that's the reason ready state was not working properly. So we have used some constant. Okay, see, I'll tell you one thing. I'll just say, okay, say pencil here is here. Assume he is an object or is a browser. I'll just ask him to perform some action. Just go and get something there. So he may not start immediately. He will just wait for 2 seconds or 3 seconds. Right? Then he will go. Then he will start performing the transaction. That means that okay, till he comes back or till he reaches there, then that's a synchronization just consider. Now when I use ready state, right? Ready state, as soon as I tell the action, if I use ready state, it is not started yet. It is taking 5 seconds, right? So ready state executes within that 5 seconds only. It is complete, it is returning as complete. But when I start using ready state, as soon as it starts from here to there, as soon as after starting. So since it is taking 5 seconds time to start, after saying the action, after wait for 5 seconds, then he starts, that time use ready state. Wait till he reaches there. That's what I told. As soon as I click on button, then page not started loading immediately. It was taking 2 seconds or 3 seconds to start loading. After start loading, then we need to use synchronization all this. So before start but since the ready state was working, started executing before it started loading. So that's the reason it was showing it as complete immediately. 4 stands for complete actually. So this is one of the interview question actually. He is ready or busy also there. He should know. Same thing is written. Busy or is ready. Okay. He is ready will return true once it is navigated completely. Or busy will return true when the page is loading. Both will work in the same way. Okay. So they just alternative for this. Okay. So now fine. It's clicking. Now how can I validate whether that object is exist or not? See what we will do is now I am using a function called type name. What is meant by type name here? Displays the type of the variable, or if it is object, what type of object it is. Type name is used to retrieve the data type. And if it is object, then it retrieves the type of the object or name of the object. Okay. So let me close this and we execute again. You should have a little patience when not generally when we are using this kind of programming method, because we need to run every time. So what it is returning? HTML anchor element. What is meant by HTML anchor element? It's a link. Generally we use array to retrieve the to define a link object. We use A. A stands for anchor. Okay, so that's what I told earlier. So it is whatever the object is said, get O welcome link equals to get element by ID of get element by ID of welcome we have used, right? So by using that particular ID, it is returning a link. Okay. So if it is returning a link object, then that means that login successfully. Now what I will do is, I am giving wrong credentials this time. I am giving wrong credentials so that login will not be successful. Click. What it is returning? Nothing but null here. So whenever we use get element by ID, in case if any object is matched with the given ID, it returns that object. If the object is no object is found, if no object is found, it returns nothing. Okay, so remember get element by ID. In case if the object is available or if the object is found, it returns the object. In case if the object is not found, it returns null. It returns nothing. Then now our validation will be if case of O welcome link, type name of O welcome link is HTML anchor element. So if type name is anchor element, then just display as login successful. Else give a message box saying login is not successful. Okay, that what it should say now, login is not successful. Okay, now what I will do is I will give valid credentials. It says login successful. That's how we do the validation, whether it's navigated to the right page or not. So we will verify an object exists or not. Then what we are doing? Okay, we are giving some property to retrieve the object. By using that property, if it is able to retrieve an object, then it's successful. Any object is retrieved, then it is successful. If no object is retrieved, that means that if no object is found, it returns nothing. Then, so that's our validation. If it is object, then retrieve say that validation login is successful. If it is not the object, if it is nothing, then it is not successful. Okay. Next, what we do? After logging in, we need to create an employee. So what you have to do? We need to click on PIM link. Then, how do you click on PIM link? First, understand the properties here. then it should be this, but take this link. Now you have ID, you have class, and you have href property and all. Then do one thing, take the ID again, ID is available for now. In your script, after that you can say, if login is not successful, you need to stop the execution. Because you will not be able to continue remaining actions, right? If the login is not successful. How do you stop the execution? Then you can say wscript.quit. Then set opam link equals to ie dot document dot get element by ID. So still we are getting the ID, but we will see later. In case if ID is not available, what should be done? We will say opam link dot click. Okay. So now what we are doing here, we are getting the object by ID. Again, so first we are understanding what is the ID they have given for PAM link. We say get element by ID of console link, and then we are clicking on it. Next, after that, what you have to do? You need to click on add employee link. Again, so almost ID is available for every object here. So our job is being easy, but you will see later. One more application I will take where these IDs and names are not available. So add employee link equals to ie dot document dot get element by ID of. Then add employee dot click. Then next, after clicking on this, what you need to do? You need to enter the first name and you need to enter the last name and all. Then again ID is available, first name, right? So, but this time assume that ID is not available. Just consider. Okay, let's move to a different thing. Only name is available. Okay, name is available, ID is not available for this particular element. In case if the ID is not available, then what you do is save the name only. You can say set first name equals to ie dot document dot get elements by name, not get elements by name, it's get elements by name, and give the name here. So now only one object has got this name, first name, right? One object has got the name as first name. But still, even though there is only one object or one element, we call it as an element in the DOM, and even though there is one element, only one element here, but still it will return as a collection. Okay, as I told earlier, maybe in a previous class, when you use get elements by name, even though there is only one object is returned, one object is found with that name, but still that will not be returned as a standalone object. So that will be returned as a collection, and in the collection it will have only one object. Then if you want to if you want to access the object from the collection, then what you do is you should not directly see. When I am using ID here, get element by ID, I am saying that object dot click or that object dot value whenever I use get element by ID. But when you are using name here, get elements by name, you should not say you should not say like this, because that is O first name is not a standalone object now. That is a collection. So if you want to work with the object inside the collection, you can say item of 0. Item of 0 means first object. But if you want to know how many objects are returned with that name, then you can use, there is something called length. Then first, okay, will execute length, and then we will deal with the objects. Login is successful, and it says object required OPAM link. Okay, it's not running the object. The reason could be here, right? Yeah, I mean 33 innocence. Because the problem is, yeah, we did a spelling mistake. This is the reason why we have to use option explicit and declare the variables. So we could not understand it. It was a little confusing. Identify the spelling mistake is tricky always. If you are using one or two variables, that is okay. Now, the reason because why it is returning 0, it is taking little time to load it, right? So again, what you do after clicking on that, you keep the synchronization. Everywhere. But it is taking lot of lines, right? So every same thing you are doing every time. Do one thing, you create something called function sync page. Keep that synchronization inside that. Sorry, that loop inside the function. It's a wscript dot. Don't start syncing immediately. Say wait for 2 seconds or 3 seconds, then start loading. Then wherever you need synchronization, instead of writing that loop, what you can do? Call the function. Call the function here. Just to say, call sync page. That's it. So this will be easy for us, right? So like this, you can create more functions if you want. Let it get execute. Login is successful. Click on, so that it is waiting now instead of directly performing the action. Click on add employee. It is waiting. Then you can see 1. So that means one object is matched. Then what you need to do is there is one object. So if you want to identify, if you want to check any object is matched or no object is matched, if length is equals to 0, what does it mean? If no object is matched with that name, then it will return the count as 0. That means no object returned in the collection. Say message box, no object found with the name as first name, and execution will be stopped here. Then you can say wscript dot quit. Else you can say okay, maybe in case if no object is matched, stop the execution. But if it is not, then you can continue. If it is more than 0, then you can continue. Then first name dot item of 0 dot value equals to test. Similarly, what you can do, last name, last name equals to last name. It should be last name, I guess. Let's see. Name is last name only. Okay, so last name. Then if you want to enter the value, is a row last name dot item of 0 dot test. Sorry, you can give anything. Okay. Now what I have to do is I need to, there is a employee ID automatically populated, right? Employee ID automatically populated. I just want to review whatever the ID is populated. In case if that is empty, then I need to set one user defined employee ID. If it is not empty, then let it be. Getting what I am saying here? So now requirement is like this. If employee ID is not populated, it's not mandatory to populate, but if it is populated, then yeah, so enter that employee ID, and if it is not, sorry, if it is entered, if it is already populated, then keep as it is and just display once employee ID is populated. If it is not populated any employee ID, then you enter the value into that. So the question is now, how can I retrieve the value which is populated inside that? As I said, value is one of the attributes that we have for an input. Value attribute is used to set the value into the edit field or retrieve the value from edit field. Okay. So what I will do is, we will access the object first. We will access the object. How do we access that first name? Sorry, employee ID, not first name. This is the one. Go to developer tools and name is employee ID. Say get element by name employee ID or EMP ID. You can still use ID, their ID attribute is available, but I am just using a name. In case if ID is not available, you can use name. And length is 0, no object is matched with employee. Then if it is not, then what you can do, str EMP ID, whatever is populated, then this OEMP ID dot item of 0 dot value. So what it does, it will retrieve the value of the employee ID object, then it will store here. Then what you can do, if string of str employee ID is empty, then you can say if it is empty, set a new employee ID. If it is empty, you are setting the employee ID. Else, if it is not empty, then just display a message box saying that okay, employee ID is auto populated as str emp ID. So what I am doing here, I am just selecting the first I am getting that employee ID field by name, and I am checking whether that employee ID field exists or not. If it is exist, then get the current value of it. if the current value is empty, yes, we are setting it, and if the current value is not empty, comes to the else, and then just displays. Is empty means set the value. Not empty means come to the else and then display the value. That's it. Okay. Next, what I need to do here? We need to select the location. But for now, we will go without credentials. Then I need to select the location here. But to select the location, this is the drop down, right? Let's see how this drop down field is designed. Say F2, developer tools, go to this, click on the cursor icon, mouse icon, and then select the field, and then go back to the developer tools again, and then you can see. So how it is defined? Defined as selected. Select means generally to define the web list and all drop down list, they use the HTML tag called select. Now that field is select, that is okay, but how these items are developed inside? You can see each one here, each drop down value, whatever it is, each drop down value here is developed by another element called option. So inside select, what they have done here, so they have defined one more tag for one value in the drop down. They have defined one tag called option. Okay. So what I need to do, first I will retrieve this object. I will retrieve the object here, location object. Then inside this location object, I need to retrieve all the options. Each option is nothing but one element here because they have used tag. Then I will retrieve the text of each option. See, for first option it is selected text. Second one, Australian regional. So each one is for one option. Then each one. Okay. So what I will do now, first I will get the select field, and then from the select field I will get all the option elements, and for each option element we will get the text, and then if the text is matching with our expected value, then we will select that particular option. Getting what I am saying here? Then what we will do now is set O region field, right? So location field equals to ie dot document dot get elements by tag name of location. If name also not available and ID is not available, then you will see and one more. By using get elements by tag name and then other things, we will see again. Length equals to 0, then give a message box saying that no location field exists in the application. Please check the properties and rerun again. Right? And then you can say nanda.dreddy run SQTP or FT statement. Then you can say wscript dot with for now user ID. Okay. So after that, what I have to do is, in case if it is exists, right? Dot item of 0 dot get elements by tag name of option. You know what I am doing? Earlier we are using ie dot document, right? Get that elements within the page. That's what ie dot document means. Now let's say here, take this room. How to get elements by tag name under rows? Take this particular thing. So here we have got this room and 3 more rooms available, right? Now when I say this entire floor or this entire flat dot get elements by tag name. When I say this class dot get elements by tag name, it will maybe there in this room, or maybe there in that room, maybe there in this room or other room. Anything. It will take entire thing. Okay, so entire page it will consider as. But now I want to get only within this room, not in other rooms. Then what you can do here? Get elements by tag name, where I have to use this room, this class dot, this room dot, get elements by tag name or something, whatever it is, get elements by name or get elements by ID, whatever it is. So it will consider only this room as the parent. Entire room it will not consider. Same thing now what I am doing here, when I want to get the option element, I don't want the option element in entire page. So what option elements I want? I want the option elements only inside this particular result. Inside this particular select. I want all the options only in this particular select. I don't want, even there are some other select also available here. 1 minute, I will go back. If you select, here also we will be having options and all, but I don't want these options anything, but only these options I want. So that's the reason what I am doing. First I am retrieving this particular element. In this element I am getting the elements again, sub elements. That's called chains. But you also have something called child nodes. I will come back to that later. So what I am doing here? So in this particular location field, get the option elements again. Set all options equals to get elements by tag name of option. All the elements I am getting. Then I want to loop through first option to last element option and then get the text of each and every option. So now how the text is displayed here? Text is displayed outside the element, right? Outside the element. That's called as an inner text when it comes to, even though it is showing it as text here, but in HTML we call it as a text, sorry, inner text. Then do one thing, first get total options equals to all options dot length. For I equals to 0 to total options minus 1. Then what you can do now, all options dot item of I dot inner text to retrieve the text. Then let's see how exactly it works. But before we selecting, then I'm just displaying everything here. So log in and click on PIM link. Login is successful. So click on PIM link now, and then add employee. Employee ID is populated as 0092. Let's see. Then no location field exists in the application. Okay. No. Actually, tag name I have used. It should be get elements by name. So wrong thing that we did. But getting how we are accessing the objects and not just understand, we are going to automate one more application because this is the key part for us. So there, we have got some more objects where ID and all are not available for these objects. Now we can see it's accessing select Australian Regional HQ and the British Development Center, Canadian Development Center. All these are we have. Right? And now what I will do is option to be selected is STR Development Center equals to, I need to select Indian Center. Let's see how the value has been displayed here. You have to display. Indian Development Center. You need to select it. Then how we do is, if use case of this equivalent to use case of this. What is mean by SDR Development Center? The option which we need to select. If both are matching, then what you do is, for this option, whatever the option is matched, there is one more attribute called selected. We call it as dot selected. Dot selected equals to true. If you set dot selected as true, then it will select the option. So how do you select a value from the drop down? This is also one of the interview questions here. So when you say, how do you select the value from a drop down, then by using DOM. So first what we do is, first we access that list by using get elements by ID, get element by ID, or get elements by tag name, or get elements by name, whatever you use. But if you are using get element by ID, you can say that object dot immediately, or if you are using get elements by tag name or get elements by name, then you have to say that element dot item of so and so. Okay, because it retrieves as a collection. Okay, that's the first thing. After that, again you have to get the options in it. So you can say that element dot options, get elements by tag name of option. So it will retrieve all the options values inside the drop down. Then you can say, first get the length, how many options are there, how many items are there, loop through first item to last item, then each option dot inner text. So it will retrieve the text. So then each option dot inner text equals to your expected value, then that option dot selected equals to true. Then say exit for. This could be a little confusing thing, but it's one of the important. We will see one more or two more applications, and then we will automate so that you will understand much better. Login is successful. Okay. Then this has to be selected. Value has been selected. Right? Next, you need to click on Save button. Then again, say Developer Tools. I'm taking ID this time. Okay. Set post save button equals to document dot element by ID. You can set post save button dot click. I'm just closing this browser every time because every time it takes this. It opens a new browser. That's largely successful, fine. But I don't want these message boxes and all. Again, we will see with parameterization, all the data, everything is being hard coded, right? With Excel parameterization, all these things we are going to see next time. Reporting format. So I should remove this message box. Now, let's click on save button. You can see that the process is going on. Then we need to validate whether the employee has been created or not. Then we need to do some other actions, editing the details of the employee. So we will stop here for today, and tomorrow we will continue with the remaining. Okay. So now, how this automation works exactly is whenever you want to create an employee, now you don't need to do that manually. Just what you do, you click on the script. So it will be automatically executed. So tomorrow what we will do is we will do some more actions we'll perform, and then we will see the real automation with the data parameterization and some error handling thing in between, and some validations inserted with proper logs created. Okay, because I don't want to see the message box and all, but I want some stored report. That means, okay, later or once the script is executed automatically, then I want to see the report, final report. Then you can see how many steps passed, how many steps failed, and all. Then you can see. So that we will see tomorrow. Okay, so not today. Right. So this is what this is how normally we automate the applications by using pure VBScript without using any tool. But internally tool uses similar kind of logic only to automate the